Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Saturday, December 18th, 2021 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I embrace the expansive nature of change. And speaking of change, we have a full moon in Gemini. This full moon in Gemini is leading us into a super potent Venus retrograde on Sunday. We're also on the precipice of Chiron going direct. And this full moon in Gemini, speaking of change, I feel like is really helping us finish out North Node in Gemini strong. A month after this full moon, we will have the nodes shift into Taurus and Scorpio. I also feel like this full moon, among all of the things, it's multi-talented, multitasking. I feel like this full moon is kind of closing the door on our lessons from the eclipses earlier this month, or earlier this year, not earlier this month, earlier this year, that were in Gemini and Sagittarius. And so it's like asking us to fully implement the changes that we've been brought through, I would say, over the last year and a half. As we've had the nodes in the sign of Gemini. So let's look at some of the background details. The full moon will happen at 8:35 p.m. Pacific time. It is at 27 degrees Gemini, which is right there, well, directly opposite almost the galactic center, which is 28 degrees Sagittarius, which is where the sun will be. So definitely opportunity for downloads coming in with this full moon. While it's not necessarily aligned with anything in the chart, we will have Mercury, which Mercury is the ruling planet of Gemini. Mercury engaged in a square with Chiron, and Chiron bringing healing. So there's definitely some potency behind this full moon energy. I think the first thing to note with a full moon in Gemini is a sign that represents change. It represents communication. It represents the mind. It represents listening. But Gemini energy is always in a state of change, whether it's twinning and chameleoning, which Gemini energy can do, or it's connecting the dots, and as it connects, shifting and morphing and evolving and changing. I have a friend who believes that Gemini energy is an alchemy energy, and I do feel like Gemini energy definitely can carry that vibration as well as the Scorpio Sagittarius vibes. So we have a lot of potentiality in this full moon. And I think we're all just being asked, pay attention, listen, and notice where you are resisting change and recognize how wonderful change can be. I will say, speaking of the last eclipses moved us to Arkansas. If you had asked me at the beginning of 2021 if we would be moving to Arkansas, I'd be like, no. And I love it here. You know, I love this energy here. Speaking of Gemini, it's actually a Gemini state. Every state has a sign. Anyway, this is a call to embrace change. This is a call to notice where you've been resisting that change. This is a call to recognize the expansive energy and the blessings that can come as you embrace whatever change is there for you. Now, this change may not be a big thing. It may not be moving across the country, although it could be. It could be a change in your mindset. It could be a change in your focus. It could be a change in the direction of your day. Mercury is currently in Capricorn. Capricorn is a very decisive energy. And hopefully, Capricorn energy decides through soul connection, purpose connection, destiny connection. So hopefully Capricorn makes those decisions. Sometimes Capricorn can decide, like, the authority has told me this, and I shall do this. Hopefully that's not it. I got a lot of those cards in the Patreon group that we just did. But to me, this is a call with Mercury and Capricorn to make a decision based on a bigger picture, based on your destiny, based on this larger calling, and to align with that. That Mercury Chiron square can be so healing if we can align with who we truly are and move Aries energy, right? Chiron and Aries, move from that place. So there's so much potency, but you may experience, as we build to the full moon through the day, some of those rubs, right? Some of the rubs of the square, some of the rubs of the full moon, processing emotional energy. Watch the stories, though. Even as you're processing the emotional energy, Gemini can definitely be a storyteller. And our minds tend to be the storyteller. Like, oh, this tiny tidbit, oh, this whole big saga around it, oh, and then the feelings start around it. So watch that energy as it moves through. And again, keep checking in. Is this story true? Is this story aligned? Is there something I need to listen to in the story? I think it's always beneficial to listen. Not to say I'm always the best listener, but I think it's always beneficial to listen. And so we have that opportunity as we move into this energy. Gemini energy is also a call towards the new. And so I feel like with this full moon, as we're finishing up 2021, what is the newness that you are being called into? What are you being called to leave behind, to let go of in this energy? Any full moon gives us an opportunity to let go. Sometimes it's emotions, sometimes it's stories, sometimes it's mental patterns. There's so many levels of this. And so you have to tune in for you. Where are you being called to let go? Again, to move into and align with your new in and through this energy. I love that the first connection the moon makes after the peak of the full moon is with Jupiter. Jupiter in Aquarius, Jupiter finishing up the final degrees of Aquarius. Jupiter reminding us it is safe and appropriate and helpful to have a larger vision and to connect with it. So that connection between full moon in Gemini and Jupiter, which is also, again, connecting to the galactic center, calling in some newness, but calling in some big energies is like, your vision is important. Your vision makes a difference in the world. Holding on to it, thinking it. I know that there's more than just him, but I remember reading an article from LL Cool J who said he spent time every day like envisioning, his path, his forward momentum. So connecting in with this is a very powerful energy. And I would say with this full moon, to take the time to do that is very powerful. Now again, this is on the precipice of Venus going retrograde, which I'm not going to go into in this scope. You will get that in the next one, which will probably come out Sunday night. But just know, Venus is going retrograde Sunday morning. So we're beginning this Persephone descent to go find deeper alignments with our personal magic. I forget where I was going with that, but that moon in Gemini, Jupiter connection late in the evening with this full moon, it is powerful. And I love that I have at the top of my cards the trust card. I think sometimes we're so afraid to believe a vision, to hold a vision, because we don't trust that it can happen. We don't trust that it can work out. And I think there is a call to faith in and through this full moon. Now I'll read you the Sabian symbol. I'm not a huge fan of the Sabian symbol. For full moon at Gemini 27, it's a gypsy emerging from forest wherein her tribe is encamped. It talks about in here in some of the notes, it reveals a period of transition, a more or less clear yearning for a new state of consciousness and thus for inner transformation. And I think that that's definitely where we are at. That call to and for transformation at this time. And again, so much transformation happens as we recognize the power of our mental energies. This doesn't mean you stop telling the stories. This doesn't mean that you can't go to those places. Those places, the stories, the pain, all of that has a place. However, we can't forget we don't want to forget where we've been. We also can't forget where we're going. And the power of your energy in this presence. This is why Gemini's energy is so powerful, because it's multi-talented. It's like, I call in this wisdom, I see over there, and here I am now. So it's able to multitask these energies to help propel forward. So with this full moon, like I said, as we're finishing up the North Node in Gemini, the collective North Node of newness, of transition, moving towards Taurus, moving towards nature, moving towards the natural, moving towards connecting deeper with the earth. This is important. This is an important step on it. So let's look at the cards. It's so funny. Another card I pulled is the Fool card. This was pulled by one of the people in my patron group. I've pulled this multiple times this week. Again, we are being called into something new, and the Fool doesn't necessarily know. And Gemini energy doesn't know. I will say about my Gemini energy, I always say it's willing to press buttons. It's willing to be like, I don't know, let me try it. So listen to your intuition, of course, but see, where are you called into that? I love this. Beyond illusion. There is energy of truth that will become through our openness in this energy. It may also come through galactic center energy. There's so many layers of this, but we will find layers of truth in and through this. I love this We Are the World card. This We Are the World card to me represents the colors of the world, and how we all have different vibrations, different part of the spectrum to carry through in this. And so again, not comparing, and maybe noticing where you may be twinning somebody else's journey and where you're called to no longer twin, but again, embrace the power of your own. And the final card is the Dream. Taking the time to daydream, taking the time for this larger vision, taking the time to connect with it mentally, to accept it mentally. Like maybe it's a vision that you've had, but you're afraid to go there because you haven't been able to mentally accept it. So a call to mentally accept this energy. I'm going to leave this here. Venus retro incoming. I will talk about that in the next scope. Chiron also going direct on Sunday. So chances are look for that Sunday evening. You can book a reading. 2022 year ahead readings available. Regular readings available. Gift certificates available. Email me for any questions or to purchase. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and stay curious. Namaste.